John's curiosity led him down a dangerous path. He craved spiritual enlightenment. He sought the secrets of the third eye. YouTube promised ancient wisdom. It offered a gateway to hidden realms. John, naive and eager, followed the instructions. He meditated with his eyes closed. He chanted the unfamiliar words. He felt a shift, a tingling sensation between his eyebrows. Little did he know he had opened a door he couldn't close. The early signs were subtle. John noticed changes in his perception. Colors seemed more vivid, sounds were amplified. He felt a heightened awareness of the unseen. He dismissed it as the fruits of his spiritual practice. He felt empowered, connected to a higher plane, but this was no divine connection. It was a dark entity, insidious and manipulative, slipping into his soul through the crack he had created. As days turned into weeks, the whispers began. At first they were faint, easily dismissed as his imagination, but they grew stronger, more insistent. They whispered promises of power, of knowledge beyond human comprehension. The whispers urged him to delve deeper, to sever his ties with the mundane world. John, once a vibrant young man with dreams and aspirations, was slowly becoming a prisoner in his own mind. The entity tightened its grip. John's behavior became erratic. He lost his job, unable to focus on anything but the voices in his head. His relationships crumbled, his loved ones frightened by his sudden, inexplicable transformations. He was homeless within 6 months. He wandered the streets, a shell of his former self, lost in the labyrinth of his own possessed mind. The light in his eyes, once so full of life, had been replaced by a chilling emptiness. He was adrift in a sea of shadows, the whispers his only companions. The darkness consumed him. John's physical body, once strong and healthy, deteriorated. He became gaunt, his skin pallid and clammy. His eyes, once warm and inviting, now burned with an unsettling intensity. He spoke less, his words often disjointed, laced with a chilling awareness that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to get close. The entity was no longer whispering, it was commanding, dictating his every move. He became a danger to himself and others. The demonic influence manifested in terrifying ways. John overdosed 3 times, each time brought back from the brink of death by frantic paramedics. He became violent, lashing out at strangers, his strength amplified by the malevolent force residing within him. His actions were no longer his own. He was a puppet, dancing to the tune of a sinister melody only he could hear. John's family, desperate to save him, sought help. They consulted priests, therapists, anyone who might offer a glimmer of hope in their darkest hour. But the entity was too deeply rooted, its tendrils wrapped tightly around John's soul. Traditional methods failed. They were dealing with something ancient, something evil, something that defied conventional understanding. One priest, a seasoned exorcist, recognized the signs. He had seen the devastating effects of dabbling in the dark arts. He warned the family of the difficult road ahead. The exorcism would be a harrowing ordeal, a battle for John's very essence. The priest knew the risks, but he also knew the stakes. He had to try. He had to fight for John's soul. The air crackled with tension. The church, usually a sanctuary of peace, was transformed into a battleground. John thrashed on the floor, his body contorted in unnatural positions, his screams echoing through the hallowed halls. The priest, armed with his faith and ancient rites, began the exorcism. The entity, enraged by the challenge to its dominion over John, fought back with terrifying ferocity. The exorcism was a grueling, hours-long struggle. John convulsed, spewing blasphemies in languages he had never known. The priest, his face bathed in sweat, his voice hoarse from the effort, continued his prayers, his faith unwavering. The room grew cold, the air thick with the stench of sulfur. The entity, desperate to maintain its grip on John's soul, unleashed its full fury. John's body went limp. His breathing stopped. The room fell silent. The priest, fearing the worst, checked for a pulse. Nothing. John was gone. The entity, it seemed, had won. But the priest refused to give up. He continued to pray, his words filled with both sorrow and defiance. He demanded the entity release John to return him to the realm of the living. Then, a miracle. John gasped for air, his chest heaving, his eyes fluttered open, the demonic glint replaced by a flicker of recognition. The priest continued his prayers, reinforcing the barriers between John's soul and the dark entity. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. John was alive, but the scars of his possession ran deep. He was a shattered man, haunted by the memories of his ordeal. John's recovery was agonizingly slow. He was plagued by nightmares, haunted by the whispers that still echoed in the recesses of his mind. The entity was gone, but its mark on his soul remained, a constant reminder of his brush with the abyss. He was released into the care of his family, but he was a stranger in his own home. The vibrant young man they once knew was gone, replaced by a hollowed-out shell, his spirit broken by the possession. He struggled to find his place in the world. The trauma left him unable to hold down a job. Simple tasks seemed insurmountable. He was adrift, lost in a fog of despair and confusion. His family, though heartbroken, rallied around him, offering unconditional love and support. They prayed for his healing, for the restoration of his soul. John's story serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of seeking spiritual enlightenment through shortcuts. The pursuit of forbidden knowledge, of tapping into powers beyond our understanding, can have devastating consequences. The spiritual realm is a vast and mysterious place not to be trifled with. There are forces at play that we can barely comprehend, entities that exist in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to exploit our vulnerabilities. John's tale is a cautionary one. It is a stark reminder that the human soul is precious and fragile, vulnerable to the whispers of darkness that lurk at the edges of our awareness. It is a testament to the power of faith and the importance of seeking spiritual guidance from trusted sources. Let John's story serve as a warning to those tempted to unlock doors they don't understand. The pursuit of forbidden knowledge can lead to a fate far worse than death. It can lead to the utter annihilation of the soul.